Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Misconception and Opinion of the Conservative. I am back here with my good friend, Miss Ruth. How you doing, Miss Ruth?
Hi, thank you. It's nice to be here, Tiff. I'm doing well. And you?
Good, good. I'm doing great. So, listen, we have so much to talk about,
hmm
and let's get right to it.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, so it's been a lot going on in the news. But
Yeah,
first off, I want to start with this trending topic, okay, which
okay.
is about the New York governor, Kathy Hochul. Okay, now she said that um, kids in the Bronx don't know what a computer is.
hmm
Let's elaborate. Let's talk about that. Why would she even, think something like that? You know, what's your
She says she made a
feeling about
mistake.
that?
I don't know. She says she made a mistake. Okay. You know what? Hindsight 2020, easy to cover up things. But first off, if they don't know what a computer is, whose fault is that? The governor, you should check out the curriculum and do something about it.
Hmm.
That's number one. Secondly, it's an insult. It's an
Right.
insult to every black person, black child. They walk around with cell phones that are basically computers, miniature ones. So,
Right.
I mean, Biden did this something just like that. I mean, he said something along those lines before when he was running. I can't quite remember. Like if poor people aren't black or only poor like kids, like no, like white kids are just something as poor kids. I have to find it and pull it up. But no, she made herself to me look dumb.
Well, let me read verbatim what she said. She said, "Right now we
Okay.
have young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't
Mhm.
even know what the word computer is. Uh, they don't know these things." End of quote. I mean that
Well, the
to me sounds,
master, you should have told me. It's like,
yeah.
mm, no,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that was an ignorant statement. I mean, being as
yes,
though, kids are on computers all day long, whether it's a
yes,
phone or a laptop,
yes,
or an iPad. I mean, that's a computerized system,
yes. They come out the
So,
womb swiping.
right, exactly.
Yes,
So, where it is, I feel like that was just a blatant ignorant statement, and I definitely feel like she was um being sarcastic.
and that's the epitome. That's the part that I believe that black people need to get in their heads through our thick skulls. This is what they
Mhm.
actually think about us. She just said it and didn't mean to say it.
So she said she didn't mean to say it. Yeah,
Right,
so yeah, that's something that she's in a hot seat for right now. But
right.
but yeah, we know what that was about, definitely.
Mhm.
But
Exactly.
moving on. Let's
Okay.
talk about, because I feel like there's a misconception here with conservatives. I want to talk
Right.
about abortion
Okay.
rights.
Right.
Now, Trump, he stated that he feels it should be up to the state to
Right.
decide whether or not, abortions will continue or not.
Right.
He feel
Right.
like it should not be a national ban. Now, how
Right.
do you feel about that? Because I feel, allow women to have their rights to, if they
Right.
choose to have an abortion, because you don't know their circumstances,
Right.
and why bring a child into the world if you're not able to provide financially, you're not stable,
Right.
you don't have a safe home environment for them. That just makes no sense to me. So, but
Right.
what is your thoughts on that, being a conservative? Because, conservatives are pro-life. So, but some people feel like us. So, but yeah, go ahead and tell us your
Right.
opinion on that.
And you know what? And anyone, look, they can fact check me, do say research, do whatever the case may be. But when he said that it should be up to the states is actually correct. And that is what the Supreme Court did when the Supreme Court made a ruling 50 years ago that they were not equipped to do. They don't legislate laws. So they were like, oops, and they kicked it to the states. And it's up to the state. And here in Pennsylvania, it has to pass the House of Representatives twice before it's put on the for people to vote on election day. Because the Supreme Court, when they made the ruling 50 years ago, they said that the abortion was a human right or constitutional right. You can't add anything to the Constitution if the people don't vote on it, like they did in Ohio.
Yeah.
And Tiff, just FYI, it's already passed the House one time here in Pennsylvania. So if it passes a second time, that will be a question that will be on the ballot, probably at the primary, May, when a lot of people don't vote.
Right. Wow. So, well, I'm hoping that, it becomes something where it's a right for women to choose and decide, so.
But it's up to the people to vote. It's like the Democrats, they win every election, and I'm not going to generalize, but it seems to be the ones that have come at me. Oh, you're a Republican. Oh, you want to mess with my reproductive rights. No, I'm not. You can reproduce as much as you want.
Right.
But yeah, and you know what? And pay for it yourself. I don't think that it should be on me to pay for whatever a person opts to do.
Oh, yes, I definitely agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, moving on to our next topic, this is a big issue. Defunding the police.
Okay.
Now, people are really upset about what has been, police brutality.
Right.
But I totally understand. Another thing is this whole stop and frisk thing. Should that be allowed? But here's the thing. Defunding the police, to me, is really not a good idea. And I'll tell you why. It's because in time of need if you have an emergency, who are you going to call?
Right.
Okay, that makes no sense. We need law and order. At the end of the day, we need that. So to just defund them and not have a plan is ludicrous.
It is.
But what is your thoughts on that?
You know what? I agree with you wholeheartedly. And me, again, coming from a different era, when something happened, we didn't call the police. We called family. The police didn't come anyway. As far as brutality, having a Black person thrown into the back of a paddy wagon and their behind kicked was just another Tuesday. But what I do believe that what should happen with the police department, they need more training. They need more support. If anyone was to pull up the stats on police, divorce rate, they have, suicide, alcoholism. I understand that it's a stressful job. So they need to have the support and the training for that stressful job. Now I'm saying job, just like an air traffic controller, just like a teacher. Those are occupations. That doesn't mean that you're this immortal, that you do no wrong, you tell no lies, and but no, they need more training, more help, support. Maybe get them off the street. Don't have them on there that long. They get desensitized. Figure, oh, well, you know what? All of them act like that. Really?
Oh, right. Just another murder. Right.
Exactly.
Just another break-in. Yeah.
They're killing each other. What? No, I'm not. But yes.
Right. And when you say more support, do you mean community support?
I mean, support within the police department itself. They have a union, psychologically,
Hmm.
counseling. And the ones that are out there on the street, I think periodically take them off. Have them come inside so that if they're in a frazzled state from constantly being in a war zone, which what many of our streets are, but at the same time, guess what? You and I are in that same war zone. But have support, family, divorce rate,
Hmm.
children. There have been stories of like the police chasing their wives, shooting at their wives or doing things. I get it. It's a stressful job. Their union,
Right.
the dues they pay, they need more training. More than, what is it, 6 weeks? And Shapiro just lessened the amount of training and physical training that you have to do in order to become an officer.
Well, I can kind of see and understand why. I mean, it's a shortage. They're trying to get
Yeah,
as many officers in there quickly as possible, you
yes,
know?
yes, and
So,
I'm grinning, Tiffany, because a joke growing up. If we were to see an officer that was big, obese, we'd be like, "No, don't do anything." Or basically, if you run, he's just gonna shoot you. So
hmm,
it
right,
and in the city is growing up in a large city.
right. Well, moving on. Let's talk about you because you went viral last year. Okay.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
Donald Trump was in town. He was in Philadelphia. He was at Pat Steaks,
Yes.
and yes, like near Passyunk Avenue, I believe that is.
Yes. Yes.
And you got a chance to meet him,
Mhm.
and you went viral because you blurted out, "My 401k misses you."
Yes.
Yeah, it was all over TikTok, Instagram, it was everywhere. This is the lady, guys, Miss Ruth Moten.
Telegram, everything. And I was like,
Yes, yes. Tell us
I
about that. Tell us
well,
about that moment and what you meant, because I was there. I witnessed it. It
uh
was a very exciting
right,
moment. But let's
right.
get your perspective on that.
Well, everyone was, saying, what, I love you, I miss you, and saying, how much they love, him, etc. And you know what? Of course, what, I love everyone. I'm like this, God said so. And for me, I'm thinking, I don't know, it wasn't the love part. I'm thinking about my pocketbook. I'm thinking about how expensive everything is. And the first thing that came out, I'm like, my 401k misses you. Because right now,
Wow.
I mean, it's gone. For most people, if you have savings, if the recession didn't take you out, if the pandemic didn't take you out, then the inflation and what's going on. And
Mm.
oh my
Hmm.
gosh, Byron Donalds from
Yes.
Florida, congressman,
Uh-huh.
and he took it and retweeted, and he said, retweet if you agree with this woman. And actually, my daughter, she was like, because on Twitter they're pretty critical, but she was like, no, a lot of people were agreeing with you as far as groceries and everything that I said. My grandchildren were
Hmm.
there. They think that, I'm some sort of a star now because over 25 million hits on TikTok and
Right.
everything else. That's my little shirt of he and I talking. And I
Yes.
actually knew young Black people, they saw it and they knew that that was Trump and his head. They were like, you met him? And I said, yes. And he wasn't anything like I expected for him to be based on
Really?
everything, seeing him on TV. Yes, no.
Mm. Well, let me ask you. I didn't have any expectations really.
Right.
So I just, when I saw him,
Yeah.
it was just clear. I didn't have any
Right.
bad, thoughts like, oh well, he might
Right.
be this way or that way. But what
Right.
was your how did you expect him to be? That and you then you saw that you know what, he's not like that, or you know what, he actually is this way. Tell us about that.
I guess you know what? It was more so the way in which he talks. When he would give the State of the Union or a press conference, like his emphasis
Hmm.
on certain words and so forth, I don't know. To me, that part was like, But as I say to the young people that were commenting on my shirt today, we have to learn how to separate personal from professional and someone doing a job. So when I was having a conversation with him, he didn't sound anything like when he's on TV. He was just talking. He was
Mm.
and looking at the woman who had, his face. Wendy had his Trump's face
Right.
tattooed on her arm, and
A
he's
normal
like,
conversation.
yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
It,
Regular.
yes,
He gave regular guy vibes, like
yes.
just a regular guy. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah. I
I
definitely
didn't pick up any
agree.
airs from him. Nothing. No.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely say, he was in the mix with the people.
Yes.
He wasn't standoffish at all.
No. I
You
talked to
know,
him, took pictures, told him where, the county in which I live, and we need your help out here, etc. And so, no.
yeah, yeah. It's really a shame how the media portrays him.
Yes.
I think just portraying anybody in a bad light, if
Mhm.
that's not
Yeah.
really, the truth or how they are, is wrong, period. But yeah, he's
It's
definitely
propaganda.
not like, from what
Mhm.
we experience,
Yes. Yes.
definitely not like what the media portrays him to be. So
Correct.
definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
And now let's move on, because
All right. Like,
I do
next.
want to talk more about conservatives and what we represent,
Mhm.
and what we believe in.
Yes.
And today I was speaking to a young lady, and
Mhm.
I was explaining to her, values and of the
Right.
conservative party.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm trying to rethink about what I stated. Oh, I told her, we want good policies. We out here,
Mhm.
we're fighting for good policies.
Yes.
And, and she's like, well, do you guys fight for welfare? And I'm like, no, actually, no. We
Mhm.
believe in freedom and prosperity, entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
We don't want you held captive in bondage, not able to prosper and grow
Right.
and live a comfortable life. You know,
Right.
and I wanted her to understand that, like, no, we're not saying it's a bad thing, but that's
No.
not what we represent, honey.
Right.
And I just was
Not
like,
if you need help.
wow.
Yeah, if you need
I just
help,
could not
of course.
believe. Yeah,
Mhm.
and it's like, that's her main goal
Welfare.
is,
Oh God. Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
can I get this public assistance? Or,
Mhm.
it's like, wow,
Mhm.
that our
Exactly.
people think that. And she was
Yeah.
a black woman, you
Yes.
know. But I mean, how do you feel about that? I mean, I just thought that
Well,
was, it was
it was.
alarming, because when you say you're fighting for good policies, and someone to say, well, do you fight for welfare? It's like,
It's sad. It's sad. It's sad
yeah,
if you don't aspire to do anything more so than where you are at this present day and time. What do you want for your children if you have them and generations to come? People need help. So welfare will always be there. It was created after the depression because
right.
people needed help. But you know what, Tiffany, I had a meeting and there were pastors at a church. I had
Hmm.
protesters outside of the church in Chester, and some were saying they want to take away our welfare. Wow. As a black person, I feel, I'm like, really? Did that just come out of your mouth?
Wait
Do
a
you
minute.
aspire
Who
for
said this?
anything more?
It was at a church meeting,
Yes, they were
okay,
protesting for the church. Yes.
and they said, okay, who were these people that was protesting?
residents who live in the city of Chester, there was a meeting of pastors, and it was just
Okay.
all about outreach, community outreach, and but
Hmm.
getting pastors to sign a pledge that what they talk about in the pulpit, it's like, come on, because if we're saying the same thing of what's going on out there in the world, it's just about the separation. Who are you? Who do you say you are? And if that's who you are, then fine. We're here to help you, support you in any which way you want. So when I saw them, I thought they were coming in, and I'm like, come on. I knew, a few people there. And, they just held up the cell phone, said, no, we're here to record all the MAGAs that are coming. And I'm like, what? It's a church. You're
And
protesting
they
outside of a
wanted,
church.
and
Yeah.
you said that they were protesting against welfare, is what you were saying.
Yes. And no, one was saying they want to take our welfare away. And then I saw a flyer a day or so later that they were circulating in Chester saying that I was inviting white supremacists into a city of Chester, and that's who these men who flew in to meet with these pastors from Philadelphia, Delaware County, etc. First off, if they were white supremacists, they said yes to come into a black city, into a black church, I would think it was a setup.
Right.
Okay. So,
Right.
but that it wasn't anything like that. But one person came in and stayed, and she found that out for herself, that it wasn't what they said it was.
Wow. Man, so what was the outcome, after this meeting?
They came back again. This time they were it wasn't Delaware County. They had the event was on Broad Street. But again, it's just about whomever you say you are, whatever that is. But this is for the church to stand up. When I was growing up, everyone went to church, so it didn't matter. And the church was always the cornerstone in the community, as far as the different things that went on. But over time, the church hasn't been that.
Right.
And I grew up in church. My grandmother founded a church in Southwest Philadelphia, which is still there.
Oh, wow.
So,
Years later. Okay.
yes.
Now I want to talk about free school choice.
Okay.
Do you believe that because mostly Republicans believe that you should be able to choose the school that you want your child to go to and not be restricted to certain areas based upon where you live.
Correct.
So like for instance, growing up, we had to go to the area schools, where we lived
Right.
at. Your address had to, match where, on your paperwork.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You had to prove, okay, you live there.
Right.
Now, we feel that you should be able to send your child to whatever school, that you please. How do you,
Right.
how do you feel about that?
I agree with that, as long as the money follows the child. The way that it has been set up thus far, if a child were to get transferred out and go to another school, the money did not follow that child. And I believe in Pennsylvania, if the school, if it's not satisfying the needs of your child, if a child is being bullied or hurt, you can send your child to a different school in a different district.
Right.
And the money has to follow the child.
Yes. So you definitely are in support of that. I am too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, your area schools are just not
Failing.
up to par. And you might
Yes.
have an advanced child, they may
Yes.
be well, over, educated than the curriculum that's being handed to them,
Exactly.
So yeah, definitely, and see, this is why I say, this is not about party, this is about policies. You
You
know,
want to know?
good policy.
Oh, here's something disgusting, Tiffany. One of the things that
What?
made me sick to my stomach, where I live and what the children are taught in kindergarten in the city of Chester, they do not teach it to the children until second grade. So by the time my granddaughter was out of kindergarten, she was writing sentences. I mean, she was already 2 grades ahead of the city of Chester.
Hmm.
And I'm like, why?
Wow.
Our children are not dumb. Why are we treating them like they are? So
Well,
that
I
was one of
think
the things that bothered me.
yeah, I think we know why, you know, some are
Mm,
getting treated the way they do. But that's another topic for another day.
okay. And yes, there are
Yeah,
plenty.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, is there any other thoughts you would like to, you know, share with our viewers today? Listen, all I can say is we are standing strong and firm on who we
Yes.
believe should be in
Yes.
office. Okay.
Yes.
We know who we need to get out of office.
Yes.
Okay.
And right. And you know what? Choose with, don't go with your feelings like it's a relationship or something and oh, you're just in love with the
Yeah.
person. No, 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 no. Take your feelings out of it and think about what's going on in our world, in our country. We have no allies right now. And I know there's a commercial with Biden out there talking about healthcare and how he wants to do more, when in actuality in Pennsylvania over 900,000 people were cut off of Medicaid, and a lot of them are children. But to DACA,
Hmm.
he's extending it to them. So propaganda, read for yourself. Know for
Wow.
yourself. I tell them, don't just
Right.
go by what I say, look it up.
Right.
But don't
Do your
lead with your
research.
heart. Yes, don't lead with your heart.
Exactly.
Don't lead with your heart.
And you know what? A lot of people, that's what they're doing, but you got to snap out of it. Okay.
Right.
Stop
I know.
leading with your feelings.
Yes.
Okay. So
Or
we got to
yes.
smarten up here. Definitely,
Yes.
especially our community. Okay.
Because we're
The
dying. I
Republicans
mean, we're
are not the
dying.
enemy.
No.
We want prosperity for all.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Life, liberty, and the
All
pursuit
right.
of happiness. Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you,
Yes.
Tiffany.
Well, thank you again, Miss Ruth. Until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of the week.